Well, hey everybody, I'm Eddie Provident. This is DK Pittsburgh Sports. You're watching Steelers Today. With me as always is Dale Lolley. No, I'm not Dale Lolley, and I'm here to help you because you're terrible at this. This show is brought to you by BetQL, the only app that you're gonna need to get a jump on your sports book and get the advantage that you want for your betting. But what is going on right now? They scan over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you a best bet advantage over all of your bets for all major sports. Hey, and you know what else it does? It covers everything. Baseball, football, hockey, every single sport, every single bet that you can think of. You don't need your phone for this one. Their algorithms look at everything, historical data, weather, matchups, performance, anything that you can think of, their algorithms cover it. Go to try.betql.co/DKPS to get started now. Or if you just download the BetQL app, you make your life easier. Use the discount code DKPS at checkout. Right now, if you use DKPS at checkout, you get 25% off any subscription. And if you use the BetMGM offer, you get $200 towards any wager, whether it wins or loses. BetQL's algorithm went 13-2 on 5-star bets in week 1 of the NFL season between Thursday and Sunday. So make sure that you take advantage of BetQL now. All the information is in the description below. Check out the link try.betql.co/DKPS. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Steelers Today. I know it's been a while, but this is DK Pittsburgh Sports. I'm Eddie Provident. This is Dale Lolley. I haven't seen you in a while, man.
It's been a while.
Week, everybody
That's what
bye week's
supposed to be about. Although I didn't get to take any time off, I just didn't have to see this guy.
That's probably a good thing. So we come out of the bye week with Cincinnati not only in first place in the division, but as you just pointed out before we hopped on camera, first seed in the AFC, Cincinnati.
Yeah, if the playoffs started today, the AFC North would have 3 teams in the playoffs, and the Cincinnati Bengals would be the #1 seed in the playoffs. The Browns moved ahead of the Steelers for the 7th spot in the AFC playoffs based on their win last Thursday night. The Ravens get knocked down out of that top spot in the AFC based on the loss to Cincinnati. If you look at what Cincinnati's done at this point, they've come to Pittsburgh and won, and now they've won in Baltimore. So they've only got 4 AFC North games remaining, and only one of them's on the road. They still have to play the Browns on the road. So a little bit of a shake-up there. You'd have to say that the Bengals right now are the favorites, the front runner in the AFC North.
Which, at the beginning of the season, I did not.
I thought they would be better this year. I didn't think that they would be as good as they have been. Good for them. You never want it to be easy. You always want the other teams to at least be competitive, but the whole division's been competitive this year. Any one of these teams could finish in first place. Any one of these teams could finish in last place. It's just it's a one game in the loss column separating all 4 teams.
And now, when you look at it, all of the Steelers' losses, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, they don't look so bad all of a sudden.
Yeah. You lost to 3 teams with 3 two-loss teams. Buffalo, I still think is the best team in the AFC. Well, they didn't lose to Buffalo. They beat Buffalo. That's what am I talking about? But Green Bay's a 1-loss team. You got Cincinnati as a 2-loss team. You got the Raiders now at 5-2 as well as a 2-loss team. If you look at the Football Outsider stuff, and I did this, in the bye week, I did a lot of scouting on stuff and looking around. The Steelers have had the second most difficult schedule in the early part of the season. Starts to lighten up now. Now, according to Football Outsiders, they've only got the 5th hardest schedule the rest of the way. So you got to take care of the business that's in front of you. I know everybody thought that the Ravens looked like they were, this team of destiny. I thought that they kind of showed some of their true colors there this past week. They have trouble against the pass. I know they beat the Chargers. That was the outlier for me to them. They've had 3 games now where they've given up more than 400 yards defensively, including giving up 500 yards yesterday against the Cincinnati Bengals. They're not where they need to be at, and they can't run the ball like they used to. We know what the Browns' issues are in terms of who they're missing.
Right.
And they weren't playing well before that, even with some of those guys.
Now with all the injuries, it's even more of a question
mark. You look at, we know what the Steelers' issues are in terms of, the offensive line, the defensive line's, a little thin right now. The Bengals might be the team to beat.
Which is,
the Bengals are the team to beat right now.
It's not all that there. I mean, the Bengals have had runs where they've been a good football team. They just haven't won any playoff games.
To me, honestly, this team with the Bengals feels a little different than those other teams, the Andy Dalton teams. I think Joe Burrow.
They still got to prove it, too.
They have to prove it, no doubt. But Joe Burrow just has that look of a better quarterback. He looks like he's the real deal.
That was always the issue.
And as much as, I didn't ever dislike Andy Dalton, but he never really gave you that confidence that he was a real big-time QB.
Andy Dalton was a caboose. He wasn't an engine.
Exactly.
He wasn't.
Burrow can
they
be
had
the
a lot
engine.
of talent around Andy Dalton. They might have had at one point the most talented roster in the NFL.
Yeah, especially that receiving core. Yeah, that receiving core for a while.
And he just wasn't able to elevate the people around him. Burrow kind of does that a little bit. So that's what makes them a more dangerous team. The defense is playing better. They got after Lamar Jackson yesterday, 5 sacks, I believe, in that game. And they could have had more. If it's somebody other than Lamar Jackson, they probably do. When you look at that game here against the Steelers, it was 24-10. I caution you to remember the Steelers didn't have T.J. Watt or Alex Highsmith in that game.
That's right.
So, as badly as things have gone here early in the season for the Steelers, and I say badly, they're 3-3. There's been some extenuating circumstances there. I know everybody has to deal with those kind of extenuating circumstances here. But right now, it really is anybody's race in the AFC North. Mm-hmm. You could put them in a hat and pick one out. But you'd have to maybe put 2 chips on the Bengals in there.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, you talked about T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith being out for that Bengals game. I want to talk about the health of the Steelers real quick and whether or not they're getting healthy at the bye week, getting healthy at the right time. So we'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back to Steelers Today on DK Pittsburgh Sports. I'm Eddie Provident. This is Dale Lolley. We talked about the AFC North and a bunch of surprises and how tight this race is. And honestly, when you look at the Steelers going through a game or two without Alex Highsmith and T.J. Watt and still not having Stephon Tuitt, those injuries in a tight divisional race like this really do make a big difference, even if they're for a game or two. Obviously, the bye week, a lot of guys get to be rested. A lot of guys get to take that time off. How do you see the Steelers going forward coming out of this bye week from a health standpoint?
I mean, they should be as healthy as they have been all season. Obviously, they lost Tyson Alualu in week 2. He won't be back. But everybody else at this point, other than Juju Smith-Schuster as well, should be ready to go coming out of this. They'll make a decision with Anthony McFarland later this week, whether he comes back, whose spot he takes on the roster.
Yep.
We'll see what happens with Tuitt. There's still nothing on that front. I know there were some people telling me internally that they'd hoped that maybe he would be back some point around this bye week. That doesn't appear to be happening at this point. So, when he comes back, he comes back. They'll have to make do without him.
Right.
And, they just hope to get him back at some point.
Yeah, and I can't overstate what kind of difference a guy like Stephon Tuitt makes. And this is no knock on Chris Wormley, no knock on Isaiah Buggs, because I think they've been serviceable. They've played good football.
That's fine.
But Stephon Tuitt really is the kind of guy that, he eats those blocks that, we talk about, Devin Bush not playing the way we'd like to see Devin Bush play. We talk about Joe Schobert not playing maybe the way we'd like to see him play. Well, when you have a guy like Stephon Tuitt come back into the lineup, that evens things out for Devin Bush. It makes a lot of difference for the middle linebackers.
Yeah, everybody's ripping the inside linebackers on the team. When you're getting blockers into you on a pretty consistent basis, that makes a big difference.
Makes your life a lot more difficult.
Everybody says, well, he can't get off blocks. Show me a linebacker in the league, a 225, 230
that's going to get off a block.
Who gets off a 300-pound,
exactly.
Off a 300-pounder. It just doesn't happen. Now, you can slip those guys on occasion. You're not going to consistently do it. So they do need to get those inside linebackers covered up a little bit better than what they have, especially this week against this Browns team.
Yeah. And then the other name that you mentioned, Anthony McFarland, when he does come back and who he replaces, I think we both have the same guy in mind, but
I don't think they're going to cut a running back. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think they are either, even though I'd like to see no more Benny Snell football, but
he's a good special teams player.
He is. He has been good in special teams. He has. But what does getting Anthony McFarland back do for that running game? Because we've seen that they've relied heavily on Najee Harris. Rightfully so. He's the real deal. But what is getting that speed back, that change of pace guy do for this offensive team?
They obviously had a plan this season coming into the training camp for Anthony McFarland. We saw it in camp. A lot of him on the field in addition to Najee Harris. They have some plans to get those two out there on the field together, and that does stress a defense. Which one are you splitting out wide? Which one's still in the backfield? So there's a plan there. I'm not going to say that, run out on your fantasy football players, run out and get Anthony McFarland. He's not going to get 10 touches a game or anything like that. But he does give you that speed factor.
It's just something that the defense has to think about.
Harris is very good.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing that he lacks, is that true, as one guy at one time put it to me when he was talking about Cordell Stewart, that, speed to get to the edge and surprise people. And McFarland has that. That's something that they could certainly use now on their offense.
Yeah, and I thought Anthony McFarland, before he got hurt, really looked good in camp, looked good in the preseason. I thought he was doing stuff to build off of, and it was a shame he got hurt when he did, because I was looking forward to seeing him in this offense. But yeah, that's about it. We finally got football back in Pittsburgh after the bye week. Looking forward to a Steelers-Browns game. For Dale Lolley for DK Pittsburgh Sports, I'm Eddie Provident. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out BetQL. All of their info is in the description below. You saw me talking to myself before the video. All the info's there. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.